All right, so are you ready to dive into this audio about fast seduction?
Oh yeah, I took a listen, and it's pretty wild stuff.
It is. It's from a guy named Gary Brodsky. And yeah, let's just say his methods are interesting.
Well, the thing that really jumps out
Mm.
is how straightforward he is about it. Like he claims to teach men how to seduce women in like no time at all.
No time at all.
Yeah, often within just 3 hours of meeting them.
3 hours. I mean, is that even enough time to get to know someone?
Right, that's what I was thinking. And speed and spontaneity are kind of like these big recurring themes for him.
So, like, no need for, like, romantic dinners or anything?
Not so much. It's more like he thinks you can just like override a woman's, decision-making process if you move quickly enough.
Hmm. Interesting approach. So is it all about, like, getting her into bed as quickly as possible?
Well, he uses this analogy of a certified check to describe a woman who's been, successfully seduced.
A certified check.
Yeah, it's like
Mm.
he sees her as this guaranteed outcome rather than, a person with her own thoughts and feelings.
Wow, that's pretty dehumanizing. What else does he say?
Well, he talks about hitting these like emotional hot buttons.
Emotional hot buttons. What are those?
They're like specific words and actions that are supposed to trigger a woman's desire for romance, I guess.
So it's all very calculated and manipulative, like he's trying to hack into someone's heart with these psychological tricks.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
He also puts a ton of emphasis on confidence, almost to the point of arrogance.
So being sensitive is like a bad thing.
Oh yeah, big time. He's constantly warning against anything he sees as wimpy, like being overly sensitive or letting the woman take the lead.
Well, so basically just be a jerk and women will love it.
Well, not in those words exactly. But yeah, he thinks that showing any kind of insecurity is a huge turnoff.
It's interesting because in real life, healthy relationships usually involve a good deal of vulnerability and honesty.
Right.
Sure.
He seems to think that vulnerability is a weakness, which is a pretty messed up perspective if you ask me.
Okay, so we've got the speed, the emotional manipulation, and the over-the-top confidence. Anything else we should know about?
Well, this is where things get even more interesting. He starts giving these very specific techniques for seducing women. Some are more practical than others.
Like what?
Well, he suggests things like maintaining strong eye contact, using a woman's name a lot, paying attention to details like her jewelry, and giving genuine compliments.
I mean, that sounds like pretty normal dating tips.
True. But then he adds in things like testing a woman's boundaries, cultivating an air of mystery, and making decisions for her without asking.
So it's a mix of normal advice and controlling behavior.
Exactly. It's like he's trying to disguise manipulation as charm.
Very sneaky. What about physical touch?
Oh yeah, he talks about that a lot. He says to focus on non-sexual touches like guiding a woman's hand or fixing her hair.
So like innocent gestures that can lead to something more.
Yeah. He even says something like, never forget the hair and she'll be there.
Okay, now that's just creepy. It sounds like he's advocating for touching women without their consent, which is never okay.
I know it's pretty disturbing. This whole focus on subtle touch is clearly designed to escalate physical intimacy without, setting off any alarms.
So basically tricking her into feeling comfortable with him.
Exactly. It's all about creating this false sense of intimacy and using that to gain control.
It kind of feels like he has this very specific and maybe not so great view of what women want.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
He makes all these sweeping statements about women, like they all think and react the same way.
So they're all just sitting around waiting for a man to come along and sweep them off their feet.
Pretty much. He even says that women don't like to say no because they're worried about what men will think of them.
Which ignores like the very real fear of rejection that women face, right?
Exactly. He's acting like women don't have their own thoughts, feelings, experiences.
It's like he's living in a different world or something.
Yeah, and then there's this whole thing about how women are only attracted to strong men.
And like sensitive men are just repulsive.
Yeah, but then he contradicts himself by saying that women actually want a strong guy who's also sensitive.
Make up your mind, Brodsky.
Right. He calls this ideal guy the benevolent king.
Yeah.
Like someone who's in control, but also cares about the woman.
I don't know about that. It seems kind of confusing.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to have it both ways. Promote this image of the dominant male, but also acknowledge that women might want some sensitivity.
It just reinforces these stereotypes about masculinity.
Totally. And it ignores the fact that women are attracted to all sorts of qualities in a partner.
And then there's that whole bit about how women need to be defined by men. Like, what is that about?
I know, right? That's just so outdated and offensive. It's like he thinks women lack agency or something.
Like they need a man to give their lives meaning.
It's a perspective that totally disregards like all the progress women have made.
You mentioned earlier that some of this stuff overlaps with the pickup artist community. Can you talk about that a bit more?
Sure, so the pickup artist community often uses similar tactics, like manipulation and psychological tricks to seduce women.
So they're not really interested in genuine connection.
Not really. It's more about like getting women into bed.
What kind of tactics do they use?
Well, one common technique is called negging.
Negging, what's that?
It's basically giving backhanded compliments or subtle insults to undermine a woman's confidence.
So you try to make her feel insecure so she'll be more receptive to your advances?
Exactly. It's all about creating this power imbalance. And while Brodsky doesn't explicitly use the term negging, he does encourage men to test women and even be a little nasty sometimes.
That's pretty messed up. It sounds like he's advocating for behavior that could be seen as disrespectful or even abusive.
I agree. It's dangerous to encourage men to push boundaries and act in ways that could hurt someone.
He also talks about eye contact in a way that sounds kind of predatory.
Oh yeah, like using your gaze to make a woman feel self-conscious.
It's like he's trying to intimidate them.
Right. And then he has this whole thing about ignoring a woman's words and focusing on her primal needs instead.
So, like, women don't actually know what they want.
That's what he seems to be saying. It's incredibly disrespectful. It denies women agency and the ability to, like, express their desires.
Okay, so let's get into some of the specifics of his techniques. He has a whole section on etiquette, which seems kind of ironic.
Yeah, it's weird how he tries to blend traditional ideas of chivalry with his manipulative strategies.
So he'll talk about opening doors and using a woman's name, but then he'll throw in some advice on how to control her.
Pretty much. It's like he's trying to make his bad advice seem more gentlemanly.
Very sneaky.
Huh.
He also talks a lot about touch and how to use it to build intimacy, but I'm a little hesitant to hear his take on this.
Yeah, I get it. While touch can be a powerful way to connect, it has to be consensual and respectful.
Which is something I don't think Brodsky really gets. He says things like, never forget the hair and she'll be there.
I know, it's really concerning. It's like he's saying men should just touch women without their permission.
He also encourages men to guide women physically, like taking them by the hand or shoulder.
Which can be really intimidating, especially if you don't ask first.
It's all about making her feel uncomfortable and off balance.
Right. And then there's his advice on personalizing compliments and interactions.
Which sounds harmless enough.
But he uses it to justify making suggestive comments or hinting at sexual desires.
It's also calculated. It's like he's creating a false sense of intimacy to get what he wants.
Exactly. He even has a phrase for getting a woman into bed, closing the deal.
Ugh, that's awful. It makes it sound like a business transaction.
Right. And he even compares a woman who's been seduced to a certified check.
Like she's guaranteed to be available for sex whenever he wants.
Yeah, it's a really demeaning perspective. It completely ignores the importance of mutual respect and desire.
His advice on making a move is also pretty bad. He encourages men to be super direct and assertive.
Yeah, like saying things like, I need to have you right now.
Which could be really intimidating for a woman.
Right. And he tells men to never apologize for their desires or hesitate when making a move.
It's like he doesn't understand the concept of consent.
Totally. He even claims that women hate it when men ask for sex because it makes them look weak.
So men should just do it without asking.
That's what he suggests. It's incredibly dangerous and irresponsible advice.
It's clear that he sees seduction as a game to be won.
With the woman's consent being the prize?
He also talks about using humor to disarm women and make them feel comfortable. But I'm guessing his approach to humor is just as problematic.
You're right to be skeptical. Humor can be a great way to connect with someone, but it has to be used appropriately.
Which is something Brodsky doesn't seem to understand. He suggests saying silly things and even acting stupid to make a woman laugh.
That can come across as really insincere or disrespectful. It's important to remember that humor shouldn't be used to make someone feel belittled.
He also recommends making jokes at other people's expense, like commenting on their appearance or clothes.
That's just mean good humor should be about connecting with people, not tearing them down.
So it seems like a lot of Brodsky's techniques are designed to create this power imbalance in interactions.
Definitely. His teachings are rooted in a very traditional view of masculinity.
One that values dominance and control over women.
Exactly. He keeps saying that men should be in charge, make all the decisions, and never show any weakness.
Which is a recipe for an unhealthy relationship.
Absolutely. True intimacy requires mutual respect, open communication, and vulnerability.
So what's the takeaway here? Should we just write off everything Brodsky says as misogynistic? Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty disturbing stuff. But is there anything we can actually learn from this guy? Like any advice that might be helpful in a, healthy way?
Well, I think it's important to remember that this is just one guy's perspective. It doesn't represent all men or all dating advice. And even though his methods are really questionable, he does touch on a few things that are true about attraction.
Okay, so like what? What's the good stuff?
Well, he talks a lot about the importance of taking care of your appearance, like dressing well, grooming, and presenting yourself confidently.
So it's not about manipulating people, but more about putting your best foot forward?
Right, exactly. It's about feeling good about yourself and letting that confidence show. It's not about trying to trick anyone into liking you.
He also mentions being a good listener.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. Active listening is so important for building any kind of connection. It shows that you actually care about what the other person is saying.
And he even says that men should make women laugh.
Yeah, I mean, laughter is a great way to connect with someone. As long as the humor is appropriate and respectful, of course.
Okay, so how do we take those few good points and apply them in a healthy way? Like, how can we be confident and build genuine connections without being manipulative?
I think it starts with changing your mindset. Instead of seeing dating as a game, focus on building real connections.
So, like, be authentic, be respectful, actually get to know the person.
Exactly. It's about treating people as individuals, not as objects to be conquered.
And I guess it's also about developing your own sense of self-worth, so you don't feel the need to manipulate others to feel good about yourself.
Absolutely. True confidence comes from within. It's about accepting yourself and believing that you're worthy of love just as you are.
So for our listeners out there, what's the big takeaway from all of this?
I think it's a reminder to be careful about any advice that promises quick results in relationships. Real connections take time and effort and vulnerability. It's not about winning. It's about nurturing a bond based on mutual respect and trust.
And if something feels off or manipulative, trust your gut and walk away.
You deserve to be with someone who values you for you, not for how easily you can be controlled.
That's a great point. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of fast seduction, I'm left wondering if the real challenge is learning to be confident without resorting to these manipulative tactics.
Yeah, maybe true confidence isn't about control, but about having the courage to be vulnerable and connect with others on a deeper level.
That's something to think about. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, stay curious.